of you guys have been here before? Awesome. You all live in Austin?
Yeah.
Yay. Woo. Awesome.
Yay!
I'm Christine Otten, and I'm a voice actor, and I've done also directing and producing and writing. And I live here in Austin as well.
Yay.
All right, there we go.
We need to yell.
Second mic is up. Yay. I'm Amelie Belcher, and I live here in Austin as well.
Yay.
Originally from New Orleans, Becca concert. All right. And I'm a professional manga cartoonist. I draw manga for a living. Yay!
Yay!
And Caitlin, they're working on it. Check. It's kind of there.
Okay. I'll keep using this one.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm not from Austin.
Aww.
But I wish I was. Austin's so cool. I'm from Dallas, your northern cousin.
Yay.
Well, what? And I'm thrilled to be here. I've only been back in the United States for like 3 weeks.
Yay.
So, hooray, this is my first convention since I got home. Oh, and I'm a voice actor. And director and etc. Try the other mic, they say. It works. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have.
Can you turn this one up just a little bit?
Can we turn the second mic up just a tiny bit?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Check. Hello, there it is. All right, awesome.
So this is Con War Stories.
War stories, which I was told is not supposed to be like, what's the most awful thing that happened at convention? It's not that. It's supposed to be more like, what's it like to be a guest, and is it as glamorous as everyone seems to think it is?
Yes. All right.
Man, I want your job then.
I don't know how to start this.
I know.
Okay.
Christine, tell me the process of being invited to a convention and agreeing to come. And yeah, go.
Well, you're contacted either through your agent or through the company that you will do the most voice work for, or individually if the guest chair happens to know you personally. So you're contacted, asked if you're available. You can say yes or no, I am available or I'm not available, and then they book you. And so you fly to whichever city it's in. Someone picks you up at the airport, hopefully, and they take you to the hotel, check you in there, and then you are given some water and then escorted to a panel room, and then you sit down and talk in front of a group of people into a microphone.
So, sounds easy enough. Sounds like we just made a step-by-step how to get a voice actor or artist to your convention. But you would be amazed how many conventions cannot follow these simple steps.
That's why we went through them one by one.
So sometimes you'll get the contact you part. They're pretty good at that because they want you. And then there may be what about, maybe you have questions. Are you going to feed me? Are you going to give me a room? And then they'll say, oh, yeah, okay. Like, all right, I will do this. And then you wait around, and the convention's in like a month, and you still don't have a plane ticket, and you're like, am I really going to that convention?
So you check the website and see if you're on the schedule.
And indeed, they have put your picture up, but maybe they spelled your name wrong.
So if you say, oh, I am on the schedule, so it must be
Happening. I don't have a plane ticket.
And then, say you do get your plane ticket, and you're, told that you will be checked into a room, and you get on your plane, and you fly to the other city, to the airport, then starts a new progression of things that might not happen, like being picked up at the airport.
Yeah.
Which has happened to me on several occasions, to the point where I actually have to ask for it like a writer.
Yeah.
Someone will pick me up at the airport, right?
I went to a convention somewhere in the United States, so we'll not name the convention or the city, because since then it's become really awesome. But the year I went, not awesome. And I was just waiting at the airport, and nobody was coming to get me, and I was calling the number that I had, and everyone's like, we're trying to get so-and-so, blah, blah, transport guy, man. I'm like, that's cool. I've been here for 45 minutes, but all right. Finally, I gave up and went, who do I know that lives here? And I just called them. I'm like, hey, Jimmy, are you at the convention? Yeah. Can you come to the airport? Because I'm supposed to be at the convention. he wasn't working, he wasn't on staff, he was there to just like, be an anime dude and enjoy the weekend. No, I made him my handler. I'm like, hey, guess what? Guess what?
That's almost identical to what happened to me, and I won't name state, city, anything, but yeah, almost identical. Calling the number, it's busy. Busy? Who has a busy number? Like, well, okay, I guess that's how we keep calling. And finally someone answers, and it's someone else who's holding that phone for that person. Oh, I don't know where he is. Okay, well, can someone come get me at the airport? It's been like 2 hours. It was a long time. And eventually someone did show up and then apparently tried to kill me from the airport to the hotel. And it was one of the most terrifying rides for me. But it was fine. It was fine. I'm here. It was fine. And my convention experience was just lovely after that. But it was just like a little bit of a hiccup there.
I will not name the con or whatnot, because I love this show. It's one of my absolute favorites. Did the show, everything was great. Said my hugs and kisses goodbye. Everybody's all like, "We miss you." I'm like, "I miss you." Go in the car, blah 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 blah. Teary goodbye at the airport. Get up to the Southwest booth, and they say, "Okay, passport swipe." Whoop. And like, "Ma'am, you're not in our system." And I'm like, "No, I'm totally flying home today." And they're like, "No, you're totally not because you're not in our system." And I'm like, "You should totally check again." And this poor woman is panicking behind the booth. And she's like, "Okay, let me call customer service." So we call customer service, and they're on the line with me, and I'm on the line with them. And so she's got that phone out. I pull my phone out. I'm calling the head of the con. I'm like, "They can't find me." She's like, "What?" And we're just going back and forth. And then finally, after about 30 minutes, the woman on customer service says, "Oh my gosh, ma'am, I am so sorry. I should have seen this like 30 minutes ago." And I'm like, "Yeah." And the con head's like, "What's she saying?" In my ear, "Ma'am, you're not scheduled to leave till this date next month." And I just went, "Hold on 1 second. Hey, other phone. Lol. Guess what? You're coming to pick me back up." So they had to reschedule my flight for like later that night. I get back to the hotel, like it's nothing but staff. Everybody's gone. They're like, "We're so sorry." And I'm all like, okay, this could be seen as a major faux pas, but I get to go to Denny's with my buds now, and this kind of works out in my favor. Let's go to the bar. And it was a good time. So the airport thing is like the biggest that I'm afraid of getting messed around with at a con.
Well, that same con that they didn't. Like I said, the con itself was lovely, but getting back to the hotel, they hadn't arranged transportation either. So I was in the lobby with Brittany Karbowski, and I were heading back on the same flight. We're sitting there. Oh, fine. And so we called our contact, and they had a big party the night before. They were all still sleeping, and so they said, "Oh, you can arrange a cab, I guess." Like I said, the con itself absolutely lovely, and the crowd was wonderful, and it was great. But the to and from the airport thing was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, my big thing is who is driving me? Are they like 17 years old? Like, do they have a driver's license? Can I see proof of insurance, please? And sometimes we're invited to conventions that are maybe in like middle of nowhere towns, and I don't want to say I'm not going there because it's not a major city, because fans there deserve some love. So the problem is maybe you cannot fly to Podunkville, Kentucky, or something like that. So you have to fly to the nearest big city, and then some person, imagine this, be us for a moment, some person you've never met in your life is going to drive you and maybe their mom's van for like 2 hours to the con, and you're like, ah! Like fearing for your life on little 2-lane dirt roads and stuff. That's a little scary.
It is a little scary. And then we have to talk about food. We have to talk about food, and this is the Podunk town, which I actually love going to small towns and doing cons. There is no better fan base ever, and they're just amazing. But there is a little frightening when you realize you're heading out to this hotel that has a little convention hotel where the con's going to be and where you're staying, and you haven't seen a gas station in an hour. There's just nothing at all. So you're kind of completely at the mercy of the con staff for your food. You can't go anywhere and to go get food on your own. And con staffs are mostly volunteer, and they're all really young, and so the food that they pick out is food that adults can't eat. I'm in my 40s. I physically can't eat a Twinkie. I want to eat a Twinkie. I really, really do. But I just can't. And so you go into the craft service room or into where they've set up food, and it's just nothing but donuts, Twinkies, chips, and it's an extravaganza for a 17-year-old. But for me, I want to cry a little bit.
But at least you've had that. The same convention, the one where I'm like, who's picking up from the airport? Different conventions do things differently. Some will say to an actor, we'll give you a per diem. Here's your money to buy food with, because maybe the hotel doesn't allow them to bring in outside food. They don't have a room for us. And that's cool. You're like, great, now I have this, and I'll just go to whatever restaurants are nearby. Other times they are supposed to have what's called a green room, which is your in-between place. I have a panel at 1 and I don't have another one until 5. So I can go to my room, or me and Christine can go hang out in the green room and sometimes do like play Nintendo and eat some pizza or something like that.
That's actually a lot of fun, by the way, when we get to hang out together in a group.
So at this con, there's a room that I was told was the green room, and the whole weekend I couldn't find the con chair to get my per diem so that I could eat. Not that I don't have my own money, like, I could go do that, but if they're going to give it to me, that's what I'm supposed to use, right? I find the green room, and it's like staffers who don't want to be doing their job at that time, like sitting around in their socks, like looking at cheeseburger.com, which is great, I love that, and on the table are like some sandwich cookies that are like half eaten and opened, and like a stale bag of Cheetos. I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah.
Well, I love when you go to the green room and it's like, Pocky! And I'm sitting there going, I'm borderline diabetic! This is so not cool! And then I eat it anyway. But yeah, it's like, beef jerky is probably the greatest thing in the world that anybody can hand to me, just because it's not a sugar product and it's protein based, you know, just good stuff.
The other things that are interesting about different kinds of conventions is the larger the convention is, you'll probably have a handler. Someone who helps you get from room to room and get to where you're supposed to be. And depending on how large the convention center is, that's kind of important sometimes. And like in Baltimore, for example, it's a huge place full of lots of people, and getting from one room to another, it's kind of an ordeal. And so I have this handler who I spent the entire weekend with, and she was just mine, and she was probably, I don't know, 6 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Yeah, and she's this massive, massive woman, and she's taking her job extremely seriously, extremely seriously. And I'm not, real well known. I've done over 100 anime, but I'm always somebody's mom. or the little fighter in the back, or I very rarely do lead characters. As you can tell by my voice, I'm just not in that range. But so I had a year where I had a couple of really big characters, and so people knew me, and so there was a little bit of approaching me in the hall, and people recognized me and coming up, and she pulls this massive block pose, just starts blocking through. And it was really, really sweet. It was really sweet. It's like, well, this is my 15 minutes of feeling really famous. Because I've got a bodyguard that's boom, boom. And we go to the autograph area, and I don't know if anybody's ever been to the con in Baltimore, but it's huge, and the lines, people wait for hours, and all the way down the hall, so you have to go in the back. And so these people were coming through, and one guy came up to me, and he was a little bit aggressive. It happens sometimes. And he was really insistent on having my home address. I really can't give you that. I can give you the address of ADV or Funimation, and if you need to get a message to me, you can send it to. Oh no, I must have your home address. And so his volume starts getting a little louder, And I guess that alerted the little sensor inside my bodyguard, and she just like jumped up from behind me, runs around in front, and stands in front of him between him and me. You have to go now. Okay. So, but she was wonderful, and I just loved it. But it was really, that was one of my favorite hammer stories. You have to go now. So there.
I think she was a roller girl.
Something else that goes into, I guess, organizing what all we do when we're here, along with the invitation after, do you want to come? Yes, I want to come. What airport do you fly out of? Do you have dietary restrictions, etc.? Yeah, do frequent flyer miles should use it? And yeah, can we use your frequent flyer miles to get you here? No. Then they'll ask you, like, what sort of panels would you like to do? And, that's always nice. Well, I made the mistake, Ken has told me it was my fault, that a convention asked me, what types of panels would you like to do? And me trying to be accommodating, I said, well, my response was, well, here are the kinds of panels I can do. Like, here's what I have done in the past. Thinking that they would look at this list and compare it to, we had a lot of voice actors at this convention, go, well, we already have a panel like that, we already have a panel like that, that, and that, so we can do like these 4 out of her list of 10. Or we can do all 10. Like, everything that I said I could do, I was on a schedule to do that. I'm like, huh? And some of it was not even like needed. Like, I had suggested a what is ADR directing panel, and I even said maybe you could add this voice actor or that one. Well, there's another voice actor, I didn't know she was coming, and she's also a director, a very famous one, and she did basically the same panel as me on a different day. I'm like, I would have loved to have been in the panel with her. It's really ridiculous. And also sometimes I teach origami. It's just a hobby, like I'm not professional or anything. So on this list I said, well, I can do origami. I didn't know until like a week before when I got the complete schedule that I was going to be teaching it. This is when I'm living in Spain, don't really have access to origami paper like you do here. I'm like, awesome, it's going to be a really long weekend. Okay.
I have one more, unless you have one. This is a funny story, and I've told it a lot of times at conventions, and it's on the YouTube channels and stuff. So it's public knowledge, so I can talk about it. I was doing a con. It was a small con, but it was great. With and this is in the thing of panels. With the other guests were Stephanie Shea, Michael Nicholas, and Jamie McGonigal. And Michael Nicholas had a panel that was all about all the stuff he does. Venture Brothers, everything. A Nicholas panel. And the 3 of us go, oh, we should go. It'd be fun. So the other guests. And so we go, we sit, we're waiting, and 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 no Michael. So we're like, well, natives are getting kind of restless, so we're guests. We should probably take over the panel. So we decided to play Michael Nicholas Hangman. And so we had some paper and we started, so we just did this whole thing. Of course, somebody videotaped it and it got on the YouTube channel. But unbeknownst to us at the time, Michael was actually deathly ill in his hotel room. I mean, really, really ill. And after the panel, nobody could find him. We couldn't find him at all. So we're like getting really concerned. We go to his room, knock, nothing. Finally, he kind of comes to the door, opens the door. I'm really sick, guys. So we had to take him to the hospital. And he was, exhaustion, just had a flu virus and just got really, really sick. But anyway, we made fun of a poor sick person who was too miserable and too sick to get up, and we captured it on YouTube.
As far as panels go, I'm pretty good at stalling for time if need be. Scott McNeil says that I'm the only non-voice actor he knows who can totally steamroll a voice actor panel. He's like, you just draw cartoons. I'm like, yeah, I'm loud. So the voice is in my head. But when I do a panel that's how to draw, and right there in the title is how to draw fill in the blank. people show up to this panel with little sketchbooks in hand. They're ready to watch. I walk in. I'm like, okay, everybody, this is the how to draw panel. Turn around. There's nothing to draw on. I'm like, a wipe-off board was requested. Maybe a big sticky pad, flippy pages, anything. At which point I'm like, okay, let's find ourselves a handler, and we go outside and just scream until somebody shows up like, what? And I'm all like, I need a wipe-off board, then they panic, and then we laugh at their panic. And then we basically just stall for time, but the absolute best at that is J. Michael Tatum.
Yeah.
He is so good. We do this thing, it's Insta character, the audience throws out like 3 suggestions, I get 1 minute, I draw a character, and then he has to figure out how to fit some sort of personality and a voice to this thing. He has the hard parts. It's excruciating. Exactly. But he is the best with like the whole da 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 da. I'm just like, way to stall, Tatum. He's like, thanks, da 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 da. So, yeah, that's the worst. If you're going to have a drawing panel, and if you guys are ever planning to start your own con, and you're going to have drawing at any point, make sure there's a wipe-off board. Yeah. Because I can fake drawing in the air, but you forget what I did after about 3 lines, so, yeah.
This is something I can really appreciate. What I'm doing right now, I'm still doing voiceover work, but what I do, I moved into a different realm of work. I'm now a producer, a conference producer for South by Southwest. So I produce the Interactive Festival, and it's huge. And so we have over 2,000 speakers, and and over 900 sessions the entire time. And I schedule all of them and funneling all of their requests for whiteboards, drawing pads, an extra microphone. You know, it's a mess. And I've spent the past 3 weeks building this new online database system to handle it. But it's crazy. It's hard. And I mean, even at a small scale, I imagine it's really, really hard. But we're like steamrolled with all this stuff. But I know, exactly. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You did get something though, did you? Did you get something?
If not, I'm like, okay, somebody go to the bathroom and get me napkins, because we're doing this the hard way. And we have done it on, like, napkins from the bathroom. It's like, they got the big brown sheets, cool, give me about 30 of those, right?
Well, do any of you guys have questions about, like, convention-y stuff? Yeah.
So between panels, do you usually just stay in the green room or do you do other stuff?
His question, because you probably couldn't hear it, was between panels, do we stay in the green room or do we do other stuff? Both. Who wants to answer? We all can answer. Go ahead.
I like to go, whenever I can, I go to the trade show. I mean, whenever I can get on the floor, I go to booths. I mean, I like to do that a lot.
I'm never not at my booth. If I'm not at my booth, I am here. Or smoking. That's it.
There's actually very little downtime. Some cons, they're really, maybe they have a ton of guests and they invited you for one specific purpose and you do one thing a day. And on those days, I will usually find something else to do in the city. Like, I'm really into traveling and I got tired of just seeing hotel after hotel. And I'm like, I've never been to Wichita. What's there to do? And like, Jerry Jewell's gonna be here this weekend. We were in a con in Wichita. I'm like, Jerry, let's go do something in Wichita. Ended up being we went to some bar. But hey, I've never been there before, okay? So yeah, it's good to go out and try and see at least like one thing in the city. Maybe the thing that they're famous for. And otherwise, sometimes there just isn't time. Christine mentioned the really big conventions. Maybe you have an hour between panels, but you don't have time to go from your panel to your hotel and then back to the convention center. So it's just like, well, here's a sandwich, let's walk to your next panel. Like, oh, thanks. Yeah, so, yeah.
That happens actually a lot at big cons, though, where your time is actually spent getting from one place to the other. It really is. But I'm with you. I like to see the tournament if I get a chance to. If I do.
There's usually plenty of time for hanging out in the green room in the evening. The con is closed for the night, and we all have dinner together and come back. Some people have to crash. Somebody maybe has an early panel, but otherwise, that's the fun time.
I've been to a few cons where, and this is one of my favorite things, the con chair and the guest coordinator have arranged outings. They take you places in the city, and that's awesome. I really love that. I got to see some cool stuff in Atlanta. You know, we went to a Japan festival. That was really awesome. You know, and in Hawaii we went to the beach. It was really great. And they arranged little organized outings so that you can, you know, see a little bit of the city.
Good question. Any other questions?
Okay, what do you like to do when you're here or like in Austin?
Since I'm not from here, what do I like to do when I'm here in Austin? Well, my sister-in-law lives here, so I try and see her like once, maybe twice, if possible. I like to eat food.
Yay.
Austin has great food. I love to go shopping on South Congress. Love it. And what else? I mentioned the eating. That happens. Also, speaking of the devil, she's right there. This is my friend Darcy, and she takes care of my cats. So, because I left the country, so I have to go see Darcy and my cats when I'm here. They asked, what do I do when I come to Austin? So, yeah, that's a few of the things. But yeah, see family, eat food, go to South Congress, gain 10 pounds.
Right. I live here, so I never leave my apartment, and I don't understand why the moon's on fire right now. This strange daytime schedule you people keep is weird. But yeah, mostly I just paint, and I never stop making art. I've worked 24/7 basically, and yeah, hobbies include work. And I have a dog, and I have a cat who thinks he's a lover, but he's not, and it's awkward. Yeah. I watch a lot of Doctor Who.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm a nerd. Yeah. That's it. I live here. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's what. Yeah. So glamorous.
I live here too. I like to eat. Austin has great food. I moved here about 3 years ago, so it's still kind of a new place for me. So I like to discover stuff. I love to go to the Alamo Draft House. Love the Alamo Draft House. Really like that. But I work a lot too, so I mean, spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time in my office, just sitting there, looking out the window at what everybody else is doing.
They're having so much fun out there. I wonder what it's like outside.
And then I go outside, and then the sun beats down on me, and I'm like, okay, never mind. I'll go back inside. It's okay.
Go outside. This was a mistake. Get to the Alamo. People, get the bucket of beer. This was a good idea.
Yeah, the Alamo is great. I like the Alamo. Strangely enough, I don't see a lot of live music, which is really bizarre. Seeing what my job is, you know, I don't see a lot of live music until that 10 days in March. I see a hell of a lot of music, but otherwise, no.
What are your favorite restaurants in Austin?
I like food a lot. My favorite restaurant in Austin is Mandola's in the Triangle.
Yes!
Because that's like right next to where I live, and I can like walk over there, stuff my face like a piggy, you know, and do like, bring me more bread, oil, and then walk my butt home and like tell myself that calories burnt right after eating walking home don't count. It's not true. But I like to think that. And Mandola's on! I've got an Italian friend who runs Mechacon, who came here, and he was like, I want to eat Italian. I'm like, dude, Mandola's! Ah! So he went to, that's how we talked. And he went to Mandola's, and he calls me about an hour later crying. And I'm like, Rousseau, what's your problem, dude? And he's all like, they've got the cookies like my grandma made. This is the real stuff. I'm like, man up, be a man, Rousseau. But it tastes like my grandma's cookie. You're from Lafayette, boy, man up. So, but yeah, it is the best Italian food in the city. Super cheap, super yummy. Oh, Mandola's is so good. Oh, it's good.
It's in the Triangle, which is central Austin.
Tatayas. I love Tatayas.
Tatayas is kind of
I love Veggie Heaven. Veggie Heaven's awesome. Has anybody been there? It's great. It's on campus. And I like Sarah's Middle Eastern on North Burnett. That's it. That's the only places I eat ever.
I like to eat junk. Like, I love freaking Amy's ice cream. And, when I'm on South Congress, I have to get a cupcake.
What kind do you get?
Usually something chocolate.
The Michael Jackson one?
Yeah, that one's really good. And then my sister-in-law and her husband, they always take us to some pizza place that's somewhere, I don't know, because I'm not from here, so I couldn't tell you like what part of Austin. I'm like, we drive through some hills, and then we end up in a shopping center, and there's a pizza restaurant. I don't know. Yeah. Near 360? That sounds familiar.
There's in the shopping center you have to go down a hill a little bit to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but they got Italian sodas.
Yeah, good pizza.
That's good pizza.
And then this is silly because it's not like this is the only one and it's a mom and pop type restaurant, but I'm from California originally, and like a real warm family, we love this restaurant, eat there on Sunday after church, is Marie Callender's, which you have in Austin, but we don't have in Dallas. So almost every time I come, because I'm kind of getting over it, but we try and go, and I have to eat the cornbread, and I have to have some pie. So, and it reminds me of California.
Anymore because it's got a lot of fried things. And
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'll get soup and cornbread and pie, and that's safe.
The best chicken pot pie.
I love chicken pot pie.
Obviously, we're hungry.
Yes. Had to try? Like to eat or try at a convention? When I went to China, you're like, okay, stop right there. I went to China with Todd Habercorn to work on some video games, and at the end of the week and the experience, the producers, the owners of the company took us out to eat, and we ate weird things. We ate weird things. I mean, if it was really extremely weird, I would have just said no, but we ate some like crispy, crunchy eels, and that was actually good. And then, it's pretty common, I guess, but like chicken feet, I ate one. Because, do you know Reiko? Reiko, she's Japanese. She's like, there's so much collagen, it's good for your skin. And like Japanese women look like they're 10 until they're 50. So I'm like, chicken feet, eat them. Really good. And like frog soup and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, my butt's Cajun, so
Yeah.
not much that frightens me. So, I mean, squirrel brains are a delicacy where I come from. I refuse to eat them though, because I had a pet squirrel, and that's not nice. So, but I was at a Korean restaurant, and we had the big giant fried, cod or whatever it was, and somebody was like, "No, man, it is a delicacy to eat the eyeball. You have to eat one of the eyeballs." And like everybody's fighting over, like, "No, you've never had of the fish." As the whole fish is fried, it's this giant fried eyeball just still sticking in the head. I'm like, I'll try it. Why not? So they plucked this thing out and put it on my plate, and I popped it in my mouth, and as long as I didn't think about what it was not bad. It was crunchy and salty, and it had this little hard pebbly center, and it was like, but it was like, that's like sushi. It kind of tastes like nori. Oh, that's nice. Like little fried bits. Oh, crunch, crunch, crunch. Oh, that's what that was. But yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever forced myself to go, I'll eat that. I'm hardcore. So
I had a similar experience, but I said no to the eye. I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was in Bulgaria doing a tour of a play in Bulgaria for some reason, and we were moving from one city to another, and there's a really famous monastery up this mountain, and so you drive up this mountain. There's nothing. I mean, it is freaking the wilderness up there. There are goats going by, and you have to pull off for the chickens. It's really crazy. And about halfway up the mountain, they're like, "Oh, there's a place to eat up here." I haven't seen a human being in an hour. There's a place to eat up here. So we pull off there's this little house in the middle of the mountain. And, I mean, seriously, we get seated and we go inside, and it's just this gorgeous, beautiful, carved out of wood, beautiful place. It's just incredible. It's supposed to be this amazing restaurant. And we go and sit on the patio on the back, and there's goats going by, and there's a river going by. And then we're going to order for you, obviously. So it was a big group of us, and they just plopped down on in front of everybody, a whole fish on a plate, just crispy fried, whole fish. And they caught them all in the river behind there that morning. And so, flap, 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 fish. And, I was really young at the time. We were all, young Americans, and wow, that's really strange. And since then, it seems like it's nothing. I mean, at the time, though, it was like blowing my mind. And then, first the eye thing, the dead eye staring out at you, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was terrible. I couldn't do it. I would do it now, though. I have to say, I would do it now.
I'll tell you what, though, that did prepare me for not very long later, wound up in Italy, in Venice, and we were hopping the islands Murano, and I was like, we were starving, and the only place we found was a frito misto shop, which frito misto is basically drag a net through the sea and fry what comes up. Yeah. It's awesome. But then I'm like, fried fish? Yeah. And it's got calamari, and it's got shrimpies, and it's got little tiny fish, like the whole fish. They don't even gut it. There's like fish goes fry it. It's so cute, isn't it? It's all and so this basket of fried things looking at you comes out, and my friend Jenny's just like and she ate the calamari rings, and she nibbled on her little shrimp. And I'm all like, give me your fish. It's looking at you. I don't care. I ate a fish eyeball. This is nothing. So, try new things. Your mother always said it's important. Try new things.
Like advice for budding actresses and artists? Is that right? Okay. Yeah, sure we do. Sure we're chock full of it. Okay, sorry, I'm a smart aleck. I guess to budding voice actors and actresses, act. That is my advice. That sounds like I'm being a jerk. I'm really not, because voice acting is only a part of it. Like, you can't say, I'm just going to be a voice actor, and that somehow makes you different from regular actors. Now, you know a lot more about your voice than maybe someone who only does theater. That you don't have to do all the weird, goofy stuff that we do. But the base word in the phrase is actor. So, if you want to be a voice actor, start acting absolutely anywhere and everywhere that you can. Your church group, your school, your community theater, anywhere.
That's number one. And pretty much, if I had to stop there, I would stop there. Honestly. I mean, there are lots of people who want to be voice actors and just want to be voice actors, and there's a lot of competition, and there's going to be auditions, and the people that stand out are the actors.
Yeah.
Who know how to act.
Someone told me that voice acting as a whole, not voice acting for anime, but all of the voiceover industry, so commercials, animation, all of that, is the second most competitive job after modeling, being a supermodel. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe it, so maybe it's not true, but it sounds good. So,
I just made that up and it sounds awesome.
You believed me! Gullible people. But then, specific advice for voice acting, obviously take voice lessons, even if you are not a singer, to learn how to better control and take care of your instrument.
A lot of colleges or community colleges that have theater programs also have voice and diction, and that is tremendously important, voice and diction. But take classes, act as much as you can. And I mean, if you want to go into the purely professional side, make a demo.
Make demo, find an agent, because an agent is the one who's going to be able to get you the auditions, especially if you're thinking specifically of anime, because now it's too big, and there are just too many people who want to do it, and not enough companies making it. So it used to be that every 6 months to a year we could have these open call auditions, but now we couldn't do that because we'd be there for a month trying to get through the entire list. So you're more likely to be able to get an audition by becoming serious about being a professional actor first. See who you meet, get to meet people, network, and have an agent to get you auditions. That's probably how it's going to go down nowadays.
And plus, I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, if you're looking as a career in anime voiceover, there's not enough work, no matter where you are, no matter what market you're in.
There isn't enough work for those of us who already do it.
There's not enough work to support yourself as a person. as an adult, there's just not enough work. So you have to broaden your skills and broaden your skill sets and open yourself up with your training and experience to other things. And so most actors, voice actors for anime specifically, also do radio. They do commercials. They do theater. They're very active in theater. They, anything to do with acting, and you need to broaden all of that just to make a living, just to simply just to make a living.
Alex, you're the artist side.
Draw. Okay, no, to break into any kind of art, I firmly believe that anybody can learn to draw. This is not a gift. When people say, you're so gifted, I'm all like, nobody gave this to me. It's lifetime worth of work. If you want to learn how to draw, you want to become a manga artist, a comic artist, American style, or whatnot, it's about work, and it's a learned skill. Anybody can learn to do what I do. I believe that. So, but the number one thing I see that people do wrong is they're like, I want to learn to draw manga, and I want to learn to draw anime, and I want to draw Inuyasha, I'm going to make my own comic, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be good because he has ears. And they learn to draw one specific type of anime style. They get their little manga, and they sit there, and they trace, and they draw, and I can do Sailor Moon in that one pose really well, or I can do Inuyasha in this pose really well. Then you say, okay, cool, draw that guy sitting right there. They go, and they can't. Well, two poses of two characters isn't going to get you very far at all. In fact, if you had that as a part of your portfolio, you'd be laughed out of whoever you're showing it to. The number one piece of advice I can give if you want to learn how to draw anime is don't draw anime. And people go, "Dwa?" And I'm like, hear me out. I turn to Billy Mays. I'm like, shut up! But no, you need a firm skill set in drawing real life things in a real world, real objects, real people. And if you're trying to turn that into, oh yay. Let me explain it like this. This is kind of hard to get your mind around. If a cartoon is a simplification of a complex three-dimensional object, and until you understand what that complex three-dimensional object truly is, how are you gonna simplify it?
Wow.
So until you know the rules, you don't know how to break them properly, which is basically what anime does, is it breaks the rules of the canon of human proportions in a pleasing way. So my advice if you want to learn to draw and you want to get into drawing anime is get yourself a sketchbook for 1 month. Do not draw anything anime, and I mean no video games, no Narutos, no Pokemans, nothing. Right? Only draw real world things, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dog, your niece, your nephew, Coke cans, bottles, because once you draw it once, it's in there, and you can only take out what you've put in. Does that make sense? Am I, okay, good, yay!
That's almost exactly the same advice for voice acting. Yeah, it is. There you go. Don't do anime.
And we have 10 minutes, so do we have any more cool questions? Anything, ask us anything. What's your favorite color? What do you eat for breakfast? Anything. I had corn pops mixed with Fiber One, because Fiber One tastes like eating cardboard, but I need more fiber. So I mix it with bad for me cereal.
You can eat the
What?
bars.
It's true. I can eat the what?
The bars. Fiber One has the chocolate bars now.
Yeah, but then I would just be like, why am I not eating real chocolate? And I'd cry, so, but I really dig cereal. I'm strong. I'm like your bodyguard. Fiber One.
I did not.
Eat breakfast. Oh, coffee? Coffee.
I had the classic 1950s housewife breakfast, which was black coffee and cigarettes.
Is there anything special in your coffee?
Okay. No, my morning was, actually, it's funny, at the beginning of this panel, we talked about what does it take to get you to a con, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I mentioned I live in Dallas, and my friend Ken, who's in charge of us all, he lives here in Austin, And I was invited, and like, cool, I'm gonna come. And the plan was to come down last night, hang out with him, see my friends, etc. But then, unfortunately, we had some personal things going on up in Dallas, and we drove down this morning and came like straight here. We went to the hotel up the street, dropped off our stuff. We came in our pajamas in the car, changed, brushed teeth, come to con. Here we are. So.
I drove from my house.
She picked me up. I had to put my dog in the bedroom because he wanted to jump on her. It was funny.
Yeah, the glamorous life of convention guests. Black coffee, cigarettes.
Any more questions? Any more at all?
Now we can, all right, we can always just pimp out what we're doing the rest of the weekend.
Sure. We will read the schedule.
I'm not sure what it is. What am I doing this weekend? I don't know what I'm doing.
So funny.
That's a great joke.
Well, there are lots of events
Today's
here.
Friday. We
Yeah.
do something at.
There's a guest Q&A from 5 to 6.
I think that's 4:30.
Is it 4:30?
I'm not sure. It's either 5 to 6 or 4:30 to 6.
I think it's 5 to 6.
Okay, guest Q&A. Let's do it.
And then opening ceremonies, of course, happens at 4. Everyone wants to go to that.
Oh, that's right. That's what we're doing. Yes.
Opening ceremonies at 4, and then guest Q&A at 5, from 5 to 6. There's a karaoke contest tonight. That looks good.
Awesome.
And what is the deal with zombies?
Everyone's into
I'm
zombies.
into zombies.
They're zombies.
Zombies are the new vampires.
Yeah, zombies are the new vampires.
Yeah.
The greatest shirt ever. I want this shirt. If anybody sees it, get it, and I swear to God, I'll pay you back. It was a gift somebody gave Scott at the MetroCon in Florida we were just at. And he runs up to me, he's like, you need to see this. I'm like, what? He pulls out a shirt, and I'm like, this can't be that impressive. He's like, shut up. He pulls up the shirt, and it says, Team, shut the blank up about Twilight. And I was like, yes! Oh my God, I want that.
Right. Zombie heart origami. Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of zombies going on.
That's happening at 3 o'clock. I think I need to go to that. Oh, kids for kids. Zombie heart origami for kids.
Zombie wars.
Now, does that mean you're going to fold a zombie heart, or is it some kind of like lull speak for zombies like origami? Like zombie heart origami, zombie heart hamburger, zombie heart brains. It's like that. I don't know. I need to eat lunch.
I know. If Carly were here, she'd have a whole bunch of zombie stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Zombies.
And you'll be at your booth.
Looks like at 3 I'm doing a webcomic panel.
Oh, cool.
This is the first time I'm looking at the schedule, so you guys are hearing me going, huh? Okay, and then looks like Saturday I've got a Q&A at 7 o'clock. Right before the uncensored panel. Alright. Interesting noises. That's my chicken. And then Iron Artist apparently is Sunday. That'll
Cool.
be fun. So good times.
On Saturday, I think they split us up a bit more. Like I have a panel with Jerry, Christine has a panel with Carly. So we're around, and if you see us like shopping, come say hi.
Okay.
Question. Eventually.
Yeah.
I think some people had to like work in the morning or drive from Dallas, like Jerry. Or
Oh, you have a question.
I guess it would depend on how long the interview takes. Okay. All right, I guess so. Unless I'm starving. If I look like I'm starving, then no. Yes. 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes. 5 minutes going once. 5 minutes going twice. Question. What's that? Quick fan encounter stories. You are all fans, and I have encountered you.
That was pretty quick.
I think I already told one.
Yeah, yours is good. can't really top that with your weirdest toy.
I think I already told mine. Yeah.
I can't tell mine at an all ages panel. Think on that a minute.
Not any tiny ones. Hers must be icky.
Sometimes, like I said, I've done a lot of anime, and a whole lot of anime where I recorded for maybe 2 hours on the whole thing, you know? So I don't always remember. And sometimes I go, oh, I love doing this or that or this or that. And I have to look that up. And that happens a lot, actually. And that's because fans are so great, and they really love what they love. And I'm a fan of so many things that if I met, you know, the people who worked on it, I'd probably point out the tiniest little thing, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But when you love something, you love it completely, and you love every word of it. And I don't want to disappoint someone who loves this thing really a whole lot that I don't remember. I don't remember doing. I'm sure it was awesome. It was great. So that's the most awkward fan encounters I have is that when I'm not living up to my obligations of knowing what I've done.
Okay, I got one. I was at Washington D.C. doing a con, and I had my booth up and whatnot. And this guy walks up to me, and he's like, "Oh, awesome, Amelie, yeah, where is she?" I'm like, "That's me, dude." He's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Nah, dude, I totally kind of am." "No, you're not." "Totally kind of know who I am, dude." "No, Amelie's Korean." I'm like, "No, dude, Amelie is so not Korean. No." I'm like, "Dude, Amelie is a French name." And he's like, "Dude, Amelie's Korean." I'm like, "Where are you getting this?" Because her style, it's like not Japanese, but it's not American, therefore she's Korean. And I'm like, what? So I have an idea. I'm like, I am Amelie. And he's all like, "Oh, I thought you were Korean." And I walked away super, didn't buy anything. It was just like, "You broke my heart. There is no Santa." So on the internet, I'm Korean.
My awkward fan story is also inappropriate for this time of day. But apart from, we were talking about how the glamorous or not so glamorous side of doing this, and I think that one of the more glamorous yet down-to-earth things, and what I love about doing conventions and why I continue to do them, is because in the last 7 or 8 years, I've made some really wonderful friends that I never would have made or met if I had not just been at a con and been willing to not be a diva, to just be like, well, I'm Winry in Full Metal Alchemist, so shoo, like that's just silly. Like I've just made some really dear friends all over the country, and that's really awesome. Just for taking a moment to listen to somebody and going, well, I like that thing too. What are you doing in 10 minutes? Let's go talk about theater. Let's go talk about whatever. And we did, and like I have a friend up in Michigan that I've known for like 6 or 7 years now, and it's like a big reunion to go back to Michigan every year and see her. And every time I come to Austin, I see Darcy and her kids, or they come up to Dallas because we're so close now. But it used to be they were on the East Coast, and I'd see them like once a year, and what a drag. Yeah, my mother met Darcy and her kids at a convention with me on the East Coast, and they were needing to kind of move and have a change of situation. And my mom, not me, my mother convinced them to move to Texas, and she's like, "It's the best thing we've ever done. It's awesome. I love it here. Kids love it. Thanks a lot." I'm like, okay. And now she keeps my cats. What a trip.
I've met a lot of fans' mothers that bring them to conventions, and that's a wonderful thing. And I love to see it. I love to see anime parents. I just love it because they just sit down and at the cafe or something, or over by the food, and just kind of let their kids roam around. And I've actually sat down and talked to so many anime parents, and it's just really awesome. I really like that.
2 minutes. Think of those.
Does anybody know who John Landis is? Yeah. So then this story won't make any sense, so never mind.
Yes. What's the last movie you saw?
The last movie I saw was Kung Fu Panda 2.
Yay!
Because my husband wanted to see it. I wanted to see it too, but he was like, he never wants to go to the movies. He doesn't like going to the movie theater or whatever. But he's like, I really want to see it because we just got back from Spain and like posters were everywhere in Spain. Kung Fu Panda 2, Kung Fu Panda, and so like, okay, Tony, relax, we'll go see it. Well, we get back here, and it came out earlier here than it did in Spain, so trying to find a theater that was still showing it was difficult. But we did, and that's the last movie I saw, and it was really fun. Hooray!
Hooray!
Did I cry? Yeah. Little baby Poe, and then his mom and dad, and it was really sad. Not like Bambi sad, okay, it's alright.
At the theater?
Just any.
It would be Despicable Me. I saw it at home last night. Oh, and Star Trek. I watch Star Trek the movie like every week. I love that. It's one of my favorite. I mean, I seriously, I was like, what do you feel like doing tonight? Let's watch Star Trek. Okay. So I watched that last night as well. Star Trek.
Happy Johnny Depp, piratey clock, RRRR, fun pirate times. No need for having mermaid or stupid missionary dude. That movie, what's it called? Pirates of the Caribbean
4.
Unnecessary sequel. That. God, it was so bad.
But it's Johnny Depp. It's Johnny Depp. I'm willing to forgive him anything, even if Seabiscuit's in it. What's her face? You know. What's her face? And everything she says is like Penelope Cruz, and every word she delivers is like, and she gets 3 words out and then pauses. 3 words out and then pauses.
Hey, watch it. I just came from Spain.
Dude.
We love her. She's
Really?
like a national treasure.
Oh! She was driving me insane.
Well, I haven't
She looked
seen it.
Amazing.
I'm like, she looks hot. She doesn't have to talk.
real hot, but
Just stand there and be pretty.
hot.
I'm just like, shh.
Speak
baby.
Spanish. Sounds beautiful.
If she had spoken Spanish, I would have been so happy. Not the case.
Cool question. Sweet. So, we're going to wrap it up, but just wanted to throw this out there. We have to exit this area because this table is being taken from us. So if you had plans to like run up to us and be like, sign my forehead, that has to happen out there. Okay, cool. Thanks a bunch. We'll see you around.